Imagine like having a key to unlock real life English. Not classroom English, but the stuff people actually say, living their lives.
Hmm.
Like the chats over breakfast, the complaining about work, joking with friends. It's kind of a shortcut, really, to understanding how the language actually works out there.
And that's exactly what these sources we're looking at offer, isn't it? It's like a window into those everyday moments. We've got this collection of dialogues designed specifically to immerse you in all sorts of situations.
Right. Yeah, it's not a textbook at all. It feels more like you get to sort of eavesdrop on loads of different conversations. And our mission today really is to jump into these sources, pull out the really important bits.
The must-knows.
Exactly. The phrases people use all the time, those little cultural clues hidden in small talk. And yeah, those tricky word pairs that always seem to catch people out.
They can be real traps.
Definitely. We want to help you get, properly well-informed about how English is really spoken, maybe find some surprising things along the way.
And the range is, well, it's pretty broad. You get everything from like family arguments, but lighthearted ones, to quite serious chats about, say, accidents at work, planning shopping trips, celebrating getting into Harvard. It's all in there.
So let's start by just getting a feel for the sound of everyday life that these dialogues capture. What's really striking is how they group these interactions. They show English being used in different spheres, right?
Exactly. Take the family stuff first. They really showcase that constant back and forth, the shorthand people use when they know each other really well. You see siblings, covering for each other, sneaking in late. The language kind of implies that shared history, maybe bending the rules a bit together.
Oh, yeah. Those bits feel so authentic, like that breakfast scene, the teasing about pancakes, or the parent giving advice about face cream.
Right, go easy on it.
Yeah, go easy on it, or enough is best. It's not just the words, it's the tone,
Yeah.
That kind of mix of caring, but also slight exasperation.
Definitely. And how they talk about wider family things, like immediate versus extended family, describing relatives. That detail about Uncle Paul, the photographer who brings back gifts.
Mm-hmm.
It just adds such a specific, relatable touch. It anchors the language in like real memories and experiences.
Okay, so then the sources take quite a sharp turn into the world of work. What do these dialogues tell us about how English works in a professional context?
Well, what's interesting there is how the formality shifts, obviously, but the underlying human stuff, stress, confusion, working together, that stays the same.
Right.
You get teachers talking about the pressure, but also the unexpected good bits, like that story from Dave about teaching science to little kids.
Oh, yeah, he was amazed by their creativity.
Exactly, that sense of joy.
But it's not all rosy, is it? The dialogues capture the frustrations, too. Those endless meetings. The confusing instructions someone gets about a report feeling singled out, like that character Mike. That language reflects, the less fun side of work bureaucracy, maybe a bit of office politics.
And they don't really shy away from the more serious stuff either. There's that dialogue about Sam slipping and getting hurt at work.
Right, discussing compensation.
Yeah, and how the compensation might depend on how bad the injury is. This brings in some specific vocabulary and shows how language is used to talk about formal processes, legal things, even when it starts as just a chat about an accident.
And it's not just teachers and office jobs. You get glimpses into other professions too, right? Like the bank manager whose stress is literally changing his hair.
Yeah, that visual detail.
Or the step-by-step process of training Linda, the new waitress. Or the skills for a sales job, like Luke talking about communication methods. It shows how English gets tailored for different jobs.
The moving outside work and family, the sources look at social interactions too. Just, catching up with friends you haven't seen for ages.
Hence the classic long time no see.
Exactly. That phrase pops up. Or navigating those trickier bits like difficult relationships.
Ah, yes, the roommate problems. Someone borrowing your favorite trousers without asking. That felt very real.
Or that friend Peter, wasn't it? Borrowed money, never paid it back.
Yeah, conveniently forgot. These dialogues show you the language for dealing with that stuff. Frustration, setting boundaries, sometimes quite subtly.
Then on the flip side, the more positive planning things. Coordinating study sessions, making shopping lists, talking about entering a competition like that French-speaking contest.
Right.
It's English being used for, working together, shared goals. What really stands out is just how adaptable the language is in these different scenes. Adapting to the context, the relationship, what people are trying to achieve.
Okay, so we've kind of toured the settings. Now, let's really unpack the language itself. What are the essential phrases, the patterns we should be pulling out from these dialogues?
Well, they're absolute golden lines for common expressions. You hear things like, how's it going?
Yeah.
And that standard reply, can't complain, basic social grease.
Mm-hmm. Keeps things moving.
But they also give you more expressive language, like someone being over the moon, really, really happy.
Yeah, much better than just very happy.
Or that phrase, mind is reeling. That's useful when you're trying to process a lot of information, feeling a bit overwhelmed by it all.
Kind of dizzy with information.
Exactly. And the practical one, bit-by-bit troubleshooting for tackling problems step by step. Using these just makes your English sound, well, more natural, more fluent.
And that touches on something important, nuance. How do these dialogues show people giving and getting advice? Because it's not always the same, is it?
No. It varies hugely. You get the very casual health tip about the phase cream, go easy on it, enough is best.
Right.
Then maybe a boss checking in more directly, did you get my point? Or a friend giving quite firm advice, like, I think you should change your roommate.
Yeah.
The words, the sentence structure, it all changes depending on who's talking, who they're talking to, and what it's about.
And you have to look for those small, relatable details, too. They add so much flavor, like describing those thrift store glasses as looking like grandma's, but still slaying.
Yeah, that's a great snapshot of modern slang, used for that specific, slightly ironic compliment.
Or how the bank manager's job stress shows up physically, affecting his hair. It's subtle, but it makes the character and the situation feel more grounded, more real.
Or even just that simple preference someone expresses for a beach house over a city house. It seems straightforward, but it reveals different values, different lifestyles just through that choice. These little details make the language stick.
It really drives home that becoming fluent isn't just about memorizing vocabulary lists, is it?
Not at all.
It's about understanding these smaller chunks, the common ways people phrase things, the cultural context baked into descriptions, and how advice, for instance, is packaged differently.
Precisely. It's about getting the texture, the layers of everyday chat.
Okay, now this is where things often get, well, genuinely tricky for learners. These sources actually spend some time specifically tackling words that sound annoyingly similar but mean totally different things.
Yes. And confusing these can seriously mess up a conversation.
Oh, definitely.
Mastering these isn't just, an academic exercise. It's really fundamental to making sure people understand you clearly. So let's look at some key pairs they highlight.
All right. First up, the classic confusion pair, desert versus dessert.
Right. The source uses a really simple restaurant scenario. A desert, dessert, stress on the first syllable, that's the dry, sandy place like the Sahara.
Okay.
A dessert, stress on the second syllable, that's the sweet thing you eat after your main course. Chocolate cake, ice cream, whatever.
Got it.
And the example they use, accidentally ordering a vast expanse of sand after your steak instead of cake, it makes the pronunciation difference really clear and shows how absurd the confusion can be.
Yeah, you definitely want the right one arriving at your table. Okay, another pair where getting it wrong could be, well, pretty serious. Cup versus cup.
This one's illustrated powerfully with a dialogue about a mugging, actually. A cup, obviously, is what you drink from. A cop is a police officer.
Big difference.
Huge difference. Imagine you're in trouble. You need to shout, call the cop. But you accidentally yell, call the cop.
Oh, dear. Not helpful.
Not helpful at all. The source uses that scenario to really hammer home how changing that one little vowel sound completely flips the meaning and could have critical consequences. It underlines why precise pronunciation matters.
Okay, how about anonymous versus unanimous? Those sound kind of similar.
They do. So anonymous, anonymous means nobody knows who you are, like casting an anonymous vote, keeping your choice private.
Right.
Unanimous, unanimous mean everyone in a group agrees completely. Total agreement. The sources use a meeting example where someone misunderstands. They hear the decision was unanimous and think it means everyone kept their opinion secret.
Ah, I see. So mixing them up leads to confusion about whether everyone agreed or if everyone was just being secretive.
Exactly. Consensus versus privacy.
And the last pair they highlight, agreement versus argument.
Agreement, that's when people share an opinion or reach a deal, like two countries making a trade agreement.
Okay, positive.
Generally, yes. Argument, argument, that's a disagreement, maybe a heated discussion, a fight.
Definitely not the same thing.
Not at all. And the source gives a scenario where confusing them causes needless worry. Like someone hears the presidents had an argument when actually they reached an agreement. It's a really stark reminder that these words are not interchangeable.
Wow, yeah. These examples really show how vital it is to not just sort of know these words exist, but to properly understand their specific meanings and, maybe most importantly, get the distinct pronunciations right.
It's a direct route to clearer communication, less stress all around.
Mm-hmm.
And understanding these tricky pairs, it's a skill you can actually practice. The examples in these sources give you a fantastic starting point.
So we've kind of walked through this collection of dialogues, haven't we? Seen how English really works in family chats, workplace ups and downs, social get-togethers.
Mm-hmm.
We've pulled out some common phrases, noticed those cultural hints, and hopefully untangled some of those tricky word pairs.
Yeah, and these sources are so valuable because they show you language not just as, a list of rules, but as a living, breathing tool for navigating life, expressing feelings, building relationships, getting stuff done.
Absolutely. And it just reiterates how important it is to listen closely, and use these real-life examples as your guide. That's how you move beyond the textbook into the actual rhythm of conversation.
It really is. And it's an ongoing thing, isn't it? Just constantly observing, practicing, noticing those little nuggets of language everywhere.
So maybe here's a final thought for you, the listener, to take away. Just how much depth, how much nuance is really hiding inside those seemingly simple, everyday exchanges in English? And how might really noticing these details change not just the way you speak, but maybe even more importantly, the way you listen to the world around you? Something to think about. Keep listening closely.